I'm Peter Cowan, the Bee Whisperer. We're in one of my winter port yards here at the moment. We're about halfway through the honey pulling. I'm very late in the process because I've had so many things on, and I don't often have the help that I've got today, which is a bonus. So just to show you what we have at the moment, this yard is all but done. Most of the colonies are now down to winter size, and I am in the process of using a bee escape board here with a few supers of honey above, which are coming off. And we have that in this hive and in 3 more over here. So I'll be pulling off 12 supers, most of which are stuffed full. A few of them are not. And all the other hives, I did have quite a few hives in this yard set up as single brood chambers. And what I've actually done is taken one of those supers now and put them on. So this was set up as a single, for example, and I've put a deep super of honey on the top because it's saving me time for feeding as well, because I can't get much feeding done with the honey supers on. So it's now in the process. I think the ones I am feeding are things like the single nukes and the double nukes. And I've got a few of those around this yard. So they're the ones getting fed, and I will be putting food in the open feeders when I leave. And so all of these hives will be getting fed. I may end up putting these nukes on top of double brood chamber hives. Depends. They should overwinter perfectly well on the ground there, but they overwinter a little better if I put them on top of a double screen board, on top of a big fat double brood chamber colony, and benefit from the extra heat there. So all the colonies are just about ready for winter. So we're going to get off the honey that we can. If these are what I think they're going to be like, we'll probably be pulling off about 600 pounds of honey today. So, well, maybe not quite that much, maybe 450. Anyway, that's what we'll do. So I'll hand over the camera and get my other glove on, and we'll get going. Okay, so we had taped up these covers to make sure there's no scope for robbing, because not all of my supers fit perfectly well together. But if we look closely here, see that these supers are full of honey. And just to show you, just about every frame is like this, entirely full and entirely capped as well, which has been one of the most lovely honey flows we've had in such a long time. The fall honey flow is a real bonus because we don't get it every year. It's been about a dozen years since we've had anything like as good as this one. And all of my yards did the same thing. So there's 35 pounds here. Okay. Just go right in here. Right in and have a look. Every frame beautifully full. Thing about my spring work is it's all lots of keeping up with it. In the fall, it's lots of heavy lifting. Well, if it's a good year, it's a lot of heavy lifting. Because my assistant likes it when I'm doing video and we're doing all this lifting of honey supers, don't you?
I definitely do. Getting the easy part done.
Getting through a lot of masking tape this fall. This one's really full. Bees don't like all the banging around. That's about 100 off that one, 105 or so. And just gonna take them off. We'll come back and take these off just before we leave, rather than disturbing all the bees. We'll leave them like that, because we want to take all those to the next yard. Okay, let's go to the next one. And when we start removing these deep ones, I'm going to ask for help. Not every single super was filled to the top. There's some that aren't quite full. I don't know if this is one of those. Yeah, this is one that's not quite full. This one is one of the very few that's less than half full. Or the one I put on at the very end, just in case. Whereas in here, we have nice full frames of honey. Smells good, doesn't it?
It certainly does.
Most of this is goldenrod honey. It's funny, now it smells really nice. When they're initially curing goldenrod honey, it doesn't smell so nice. Yep. As the next one's a deep, what we can do, we can set the camera up to watch us. That deep is, this one's only about 50% full, so that's kind of handy. These bee escapes have worked really well considering. supers are deep. A few more bees in here. When it's as cold as it's been, it's getting cold at night. I don't always get the bees to come out as quickly as we would really like. Let's see where we are. Ooh. Now sometimes that's a sign that we've got a bit of brood left behind. Before we go too much further, I'm going to check that. So otherwise we'll just shake the bees off. I don't really want to take these bees home with me. We have a nice little cluster there. Thank you, honey. Look how yellow everything is. That's all the goldenrod pollen. Let's see. Frames are absolutely golden up here in Maine at this time of year. Now I'm not going to put that there because I'm going to shake the bees off these frames. Oh, just a tiny little cluster. No sign of a queen there. They were just clustered like that to keep warm. Bit here too. Certainly no brood there. So these were just the last ones. They were huddled together to keep warm. Always worth checking just in case there is a queen, but actually that's not a good idea because that'll just get everybody else to come out. Not only shaking those bees off, but we will get the troops to come out to see what's going on. We don't need that. Okay, so this is where we're going to put that camera down over here again. And we'll set it up over here. This one's going to weigh about 80 pounds. Probably have about 60 pounds of honey in it. Just a tip out. Good. You get the other job going backwards. Okay, so we're going to speed up, get this done, and then move on to the next yard. Okay, so this yard is now complete. Feed in the feeders, and we will move on to prepare the next yard for taking honey off with the skateboards that we had. Truck loaded up, on our way. So we're now at the Western Hamden yard. And this yard is obviously in need of a bit of tidy up, but all the honey supers and whatnot are on these hives still. So hives like this, where I've got a single deep with some deeps above it and honey supers, I'm going to leave that deep on it because I don't really have a safe period in which I can feed now. So this is I'm going to leave one of the honey supers behind here instead of taking it off. Likewise with this hive. Fortunately, we got to a stage where they filled a lot of supers here. This yard was originally set up with lots of single brood chamber hives, and I was planning on taking these brood chambers off, but because it's so late getting them off, I'm going to leave a lot of those deeps on because I don't have time to be sure the bottom brood chamber is entirely full of honey. So had I been doing this 2 weeks ago, I'd have had time to get those fed up and make absolutely sure and overwinter them as single deeps, which would have been absolutely fine. So because of that, I'm going to probably be leaving about 300 or 400 pounds of honey behind here as opposed to harvesting it. But that's the beauty of having had a great fall honey flow. I have that luxury, and that's why I've not had to break my back in order to get everything off in time, because what I decided I was going to do is just leave more of the honey behind rather than feeding. Economically, feeding would have been far better to give them 50 pounds of 2-to-1 sugar syrup at about 50 cents a pound or something like that, and take off 30 pounds of honey, and which I could sell for $300. But no, instead I'm going to be leaving supers behind. So there's going to be a bit more manipulation here required, but by the time we leave here, we will set up to remove 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 boxes, whereas I could have taken over well over 20 with extra deeps. So we'll stop and we'll get a move on there. So we have got the hives ready now. They're either at 2 deeps or they're 2 deeps plus the escape boards. So we're taking off the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 supers. And after this, they should all be ready. Those upper brood chambers are heavy with honey. I hurt my back in terms of lifting one up, so I can testify to their heftiness. We've left the open feeder with a bit of sugar syrup in there just to help them top up and consolidate what's left. And I'll be back in 2 to 3 days to take these 15 supers off. All the cracks and things on the above the escape boards have been sealed up with either clear tape or masking tape, so we should be good to go. So I've tidied up a little bit of the overgrowth around it as well. So that's it for now. I'm going to empty the truck and then rest my back. I'm Peter Cowan, the Bee Whisperer. See you next time.